Welcome to CSGuitars, the science of loud. Foot switches. I know that doesn't sound very interesting, but hear me out. I think you're gonna like this one. You know when you buy an amplifier and it's all switchable channels and features, but they don't include a foot switch? That's annoying. You need to get a foot switch for your amplifier. And then there's some pedals where there's additional functionality that can only be accessed with an additional foot switch, even over Midi. That's annoying. Now you need to get a foot switch for your pedals. Maybe you only use VSTs in software, but you need to keep putting the guitar down to change your settings and effects. That's annoying. Now you need to get a foot switch for your software. Maybe you're only just learning from YouTube videos and want the ability to pause or rewind, or maybe you're looking at digital sheet music and you want to turn the page, and you need to keep putting the instrument down to fiddle with a mouse to change the setting. That's annoying. Now you need to get a foot switch to control your computer. Now imagine you had one foot switch that could do the amps, and the pedals, and the VSTs, and the YouTube videos, and could do it all at the same time. The same foot switch that you use live as you do at home. One foot switch to rule them all. This is that foot switch. This is the AIRSTEP from XSonic, and this is, genuinely without hyperbole, one of the best utility devices ever created for musicians because it's probably the only foot switch you will ever need. Physically, this is solid, robust, and compact. Classy enough for the home and indestructible enough for the road, but it's the features and connections that really make this special. Let's start with power. We've got 9V in if you're using this with your standard pedal board, we've got a USB if you're using it with computers, and an internal rechargeable battery with 300 hours of battery life. Combine that with the Bluetooth antennae to connect this wirelessly to tablets, PCs, and Macs, and you can operate this without a single cable. It's got a 30 meter or 100-foot range, so it doesn't matter how big your stage or house is. It has two independent expression pedal controls, allowing you to connect an expression pedal, convert that signal to a Midi command, and then control parameters in your software to control a virtual wah or a delay time functionality or anything else you like. We've got a full-size Midi in and two independent Midi out, so we can use this in conjunction with our other Midi-enabled devices, control this from some other Midi device, or use this to control our amps and effects that are Midi-enabled. We also have Midi over USB with the USB-C connection here, so you can connect this to your computer and control it that way if you don't trust the Bluetooth. Now here's the bit that I love. Two TRS relay foot switch connections. Does your amplifier need to change channels over foot switch, or change its master volumes, or switch on and off functions like gates or reverbs? All sorted. All you need to do is connect this to your amplifier using a TRS cable. Now I hear you shouting, Colin, if you connect the TRS and the Midi, then you've lost that 30-meter wireless range. This is now tethered to your amplifier and has to stay very close by, unless of course you've got long cable runs. Now I completely understand. Fortunately, they do an extension unit. This is the AIRSTEP Lite. It's the exact same thing, but without all of the physical connections. This pairs to this over Bluetooth, meaning you can leave this one beside your amp and take this one to the front of the stage. You've still got control and you've got that 30-meter range. Also, the Lite is only mirroring the main unit. No, you're wrong. This one can be used completely independently. If you don't need any of those additional physical connections and you just want to control something software over Bluetooth, this is all you need. Or you can use these two in conjunction and have all 10 foot switches doing something completely different. It's entirely up to you. Right. How do we set this up then? There is no screen, there's no buttons, there's no menu to go through on the device to define what each of these foot switches are doing. There's a smartphone app, you connect the device via Bluetooth, and then you have an in-depth editor which can change all of the settings and parameters in here without you having to fight through a horrible menu on a tiny little screen on the device. You can set each of these foot switches to be latching or momentary or have a long press functionality, and you can even have them do multiple of those at the same time. You can legitimately have a foot switch which controls both a physical amp channel with a latching press and a software change with a long press function. For our first demonstration, I've got the AIRSTEP set up with a physical amplifier. The Victory Kraken here. The foot switch connection on this allows me to change the gain channels with the first foot switch and turn the effects loop on and off with the second foot switch. The AIRSTEP's here, it's plugged into the Kraken with a TRS cable to power those relays, but it's a short cable, it's all the way back here, it's sitting on top of the amplifier. That's not very convenient for using live or anything like that. I couldn't be running back to my amp all the time, that'd be a pain. So that's why I've got the AIRSTEP Lite connected wirelessly, Bluetoothing to the main unit, and this is mirroring all of the controls here. So when I press the buttons here, it should do exactly what the main AIRSTEP's doing on the back there. To demonstrate the effects loop, I've got the Jam Pedals Delay Llama Extreme in the loop, so you'll be able to hear the delay come on and off, and the gain settings are set very different, so you'll be able to hear the channels change as we do that. So this is not MIDI, this is not software, this is the foot switch physically controlling the relays inside the amp. So there you are, it controls physical amplifiers just fine. If you've got a long enough cable or you don't mind standing close to your amplifier, just one will do, but you can also pair up wirelessly the AIRSTEP and take this wherever you want, and it'll change the settings as you need them. This is going to be a demonstration of the AIRSTEP controlling bias effects software on the iPad via Bluetooth. So it's sending MIDI controls to the app to change settings and effects, and hopefully this is going to work because bias effects has been messing up quite a bit through this, so it's been frustrating to set up, but we finally got there. So the AIRSTEP here is running battery powered. There's no cables coming out of this whatsoever, apart from the expression pedal control, which goes to the expression pedal here. That's the only cable coming out of there. There's no power, it's running off of its battery, and it's connecting to the iPad via the Bluetooth connection, so it's sending MIDI control over Bluetooth. That's interfacing with the bias effects software, so we've got different things going on here. We can bring that wah pedal in and out, we can get it to move on its rocker using the expression pedal, and we can also bring in and out other effects on here too. The guitar is going into the iPad via the XSonic interface. This is another product they do, done a video on that before, you can go check that out. This is purely just to get the guitar signal digitized and accessing to the iPad. This is not communicating with the AIRSTEP whatsoever. The AIRSTEP and this are entirely independent in this process. Let's get some sound samples then. As you can see here, we've got everything shut off, just the Plexi on at the minute, so that sounds like this. We can turn on the overdrive pedal with that button there. Let's turn on that delay with this one. So there's the delay, and of course the wah pedal comes on here, and we can use the treadle to move it around. So there we go, that's what that is, and I've also got it set up on the live control for these two foot switches at the end to switch between the patches AIRSTEP 1 and AIRSTEP 2. So we can switch the patch. And change it back again. So that's a demonstration of the AIRSTEP controlling bias effects software via Midi over Bluetooth. While we've got the iPad out with the AIRSTEP connected to it via Bluetooth, I thought I'd show you how we use the keyboard control to control items on websites. Each of these foot switches can be assigned a different letter on a keyboard, so it would just work like a key press on a keyboard really. And that's what's going to control one of the YouTube videos here. I've got one of my own YouTube videos loaded up and paused at the minute, but if I press that foot switch number 1, pedals. But even with modern recreations, and we can press it again to shut that guy up. We can also skip through the video 5 seconds at a time using these buttons, or skip backwards, so we can get something like this. Explain exactly what this is. Understandable. Several viewers have requested that I explain exactly what this is. Understandable as the several viewers have requested that I explain. Yeah, we can do that. We can repeat himself over and over and over. And I've also got these 2 buttons set up so it speeds up or slows down. Listen. Exactly what this is. Understandable as despite the box being labelled with chorus and vibrato, it's neither of those effects. Nor does it come close to the Leslie routine speaker cabinets for which this effect was originally designed to emulate. I think that's a normal speed. Now, while watching one of my YouTube videos may not be very practical with these controls, this would be very useful if you were trying to learn a guitar part, for example, from a YouTube video, and you want to slow things down or skip back a little section to hear what they played again. So that would be very useful in that scenario. You can also use this, like I said at the top of the video, to shift pages on a website. Perhaps if you're looking at digital music sheets and you want to be able to turn the pages without taking your hands off the instrument, this would be a great way to do that. And finally, just to show that you can do this all at the one time, I've got the AIRSTEP set up so it's controlling both the physical amplifier and the YouTube video together. These 3 buttons here are controlling the iPad. These 2 buttons are controlling the amplifier, the same as before. So with the iPad, we've got play. I want to understand this effect. And pause. We've also got the skip forward, skip back as before, but also now these skip buttons, which you can see are skipping 5 seconds ahead. If we hold them down and do a long press, it'll change the speed to different speed settings, so we can do that. Let me just play. The of the Univibe is that it's an early, and you can see that sped up. And I can do it back away. Behind this are very similar to later iconic effects. We get back to normal speed, and then if we just short press, it'll skip the video. But at the same time, this effect, we need to scrutinize the circuit and analyze the waveform to give you an answer so that you no longer feel afraid to ask. Bit like that. So you can absolutely program these foot switches to do all different things from press, release, long press, and set them up to be either working the physical effects, the MIDI control, PC or CC messages, or controlling like a keyboard, controlling an iPad or a computer. You can do the lot with the 1 foot switch or the 2 foot switches, whatever you like, all completely wireless. It's brilliant. What more could you want from a foot switch, quite frankly? This does it all. I'm constantly finding uses for this here in the studio as I'm always getting new gear in to demonstrate, and it's good to know that I'll have a foot switch that will work with it regardless of if it's an amp, a pedal, or some software. If you want to grab one of these for yourself, then links are in the description, which will take you to XSonic's official store, and there's also a discount code on there that will get you $20 off, but it's only valid for the first 5 people who use it, so get in quick. Notification Squad, this is your chance to save some cash. Now, if you're too late to this video to get that saving this time around, make sure you're subscribed and you've got that bell icon clicked so you can be notified when new videos go up, or even better yet, join the CSGuitars Discord and then you'll be part of an app which you are sure to get notifications from, unlike YouTube where it's a bit of hit and miss. Don't forget to click all the buttons you're supposed to make this video viable to the ever-changing whims of the YouTube algorithm. I'm away to make more videos so that you get something for Christmas Eve. Keep it loud, stay safe.